Hello everybody and welcome to PlagueCon 2023 Part 1. This is Anthony Rauch, Undead Freak 78. Rebel Tea Time was supposed to join me tonight, actor Samantha, but unfortunately he had a loss in the family. His father passed away earlier this month, and so he's dealing with the memorial, getting it all ready for next month. So we all here send our condolences out to Rebel Tea Time. He did. I spoke to him briefly before PlagueCon, and he was wanting to be here. He is apologizing that he couldn't be, but he was dealing with family matters, and he said, go ahead and do it, and I will be there in spirit. So we send our condolences out to Rebel Tea Time, and hopefully everything will get better. But with that said, everybody knows why we're here. Not just because the Plague main show this time, but we got a few different things to talk about. We got the Josh movies, the anthology series, and the planned Scott movies to talk about later. As everybody remembers, in PlagueCon 2022 Part 2, we heard about the confirmation of the Scott movies. It's something I definitely want to get to about, and it's sad news, but like it's bland news. But anyways, most of what everybody hears tonight is after 6 years, 7 seasons, or 6 years, 6 seasons, and 70 episodes. The Plague will be ending this year. I'll get to why it's ending and that shortly. As it's one of the questions, as everybody knows, the first segment deals with asking or answering questions that that are most likely being wondered by fans, and then of course later on we'll have Matt and Dan ask their questions that they have in person, which, who knows, we may answer a few of them with the questions that would most likely be asked by fans. So, anyways, here I am. Here they are. So, let's get the show on the road. So, to start with segment 1, the questions most asked by fans. We're at question 1, which is, what made me decide to finally end the show now after 6 years, 6 seasons, 70 episodes? So, as everybody knows, there's like Season 5 got rewritten, Season 4 got rewritten. So if you want to actually go to technicality, there's been 8 seasons with this season coming up done for the show. There's been story after story, even though Season 4 was the story was can't think of the word for it. It was refreshed, so was Season 5's. It was kind of refreshed. David was in the One World Order in the original, and then in the new, he was leader of the Ultras, the Cannibals. Season 4 original, you had the Ninjas. They was there all season, but in the Season 5 rewrite, they was only there the first half. But then again, every story possibly done for this show has been done. The show, I've been asked before, have you thought about moving it to another game, like Red Dead Redemption or something else? There has been instances in the past, like we used Red Dead Redemption in the Season 4 original ending, which is now known as the Plague Samantha's Dream movie. It was used in the original at the end with the time skip. But to move the show for a whole season or something to a different game, I've never wanted to do that. I've wanted to keep it GTA 5 solely, because then that also leaves it open for different type stories and different type spin-offs or movies or whatsoever and so forth, but GTA 5 was always the home of the main show. Every story to possibly done without mods, mostly without mods, has been done in the show currently. Because mods, I could have hordes of Plague people or hordes of villains, but with I don't use mods. I have an Xbox, so I have to use creative or capture, whatever it is, mode, where you place stuff, and I can only place like 20 enemies at a time. Even though there's been times I made it look like there's more Plague people than what is, actually ain't. It's just, a little illusion. But again, all story that's mostly could be done in GTA has been done with it. Second reason is, as everybody knows, I had a child born in February on the 3rd, a boy. So I'm stepping away from acting for probably a long bit, at least filming on the Xbox. I'm definitely stepping away from that for a good while, and I didn't feel it'd be right to say, hey, Plague's going on break for like 3 or 4 years. So we're going to end that show, and I'll explain how we're getting to other shows and movies shortly, thanks to the help of people like Rebel Tea Time, Yosh Object. But so yeah, that's reason number 2. It's to focus more on family. I've done this 6 years. It's time for something new. It's time for me to have a break. 6 years is a long time for a show. And plus, every year I'd put at least about 200 days out of each year towards filming, towards writing, towards everything towards the show. So I've spent most of the past 6 years every day thinking about the show, writing the show, filming the show. I've not had a break. So it's about my time to go, and it's the characters' time to make their exits. Certain characters, at least. So question 2, who is going to be the big bad for the season? Is it going to be a new villain that does something the past villain's already done, or are we going to get a whole new refresh with something like we've never seen before? The first half, which again is what, well, we're going to be talking about most of the whole season a little bit, because part 2 this year will not have this season. I'll explain why soon, but the villain, there's going to be a few different ones. Not necessarily, let's put it this way. There's going to be somebody inside one of the groups of the New England or Anthony's people that causes commotion. They're going to kind of be the big bad. We got plague people are going to be major, which of course you can't have a final season of this show without having plague people be a threat. There's another threat, but I don't want to go into it yet. I can't explain why I don't want to go into it, why I can't, but when the show returns, as it goes on, you'll learn who it is, what their motive is, and why everything's going to go like it's going to go. And it's actually going to be some pretty scary shit. But it's not, with the insider that's going to turn against, and again, whenever I say somebody in the group turns against everybody probably thinks, well, John. It's not going to be like John at all. It's actually going to be, somebody's going to try to pull what Anthony and his group has pulled in the past. Pull motives, and you'll learn, they'll talk about it. Well, we're doing this, you've done this before, for these reasons. Now we're doing it. That's why we're justified. Stuff like that. So it's kind of going to, in a way, I guess you can say, it's going to be like, because Anthony's never been a villain, so, I mean, unless you want to look at him as one. It's a refresh with stuff he's done, but not exactly copying it. It's more of a, somebody's seen them do this, and they need this, so they're going to do this. It's hard to explain, but you'll see as the season goes on. With the plague people, I can't go into that either. The trailer won't show much today either, other than fight scenes and a few text scenes, because it will spoil how they're involved this season. It'll spoil, what their motive is, but well, they don't have motives, but you get what I mean. But yeah, so it's not going to be, don't worry, we're not going to go in this season with it being, oh, well, it's just a repeat. We've had cannibals, they're cannibals. We've had military groups, they're military. It's nothing like that. They're not anything like we've seen before. Everything started, the first villain's, okay. The second one is, second threat's kind of, like, okay, this is scary. What's going to happen next? And the third one, it's going to be out there. Very out there and very scary and dangerous. So with that one, we're going to go on to question 3. In the teaser trailer in December, we seen a plague person with a knife. Is that even a plague person? We've never seen plague people with knives before, so why now? Is it a tease that we're going to see people who are immune to the virus that live among the plague people, or is there something much more darker and scarier on the horizon? I'm not going to answer that. I'm just going to say there's a possibility to both. What's going on is scarier than shit, and it's gonna hit as quick as a fan being turned on. So it's gonna be very early. It's not gonna be like, well, we gotta wait till episode 5 to figure this out. No, this is gonna be episode 2 early stuff. I get episode 1, of course, but it'll be introduced. Episode 2, we're going to learn about it, like what's going on, who these people are, what they're doing. Are they people? Are they plague people? Are they cannibals? Are they this? Are they that? We'll learn in episode 2 what they are, what they're doing, who they are, and much forth. But I can't answer that mostly, but again, that's a most likely to be asked question, so there it is. Question 4. What should we expect from people like Anthony and Samantha this season? And Jay, of course. There's not much to change with any of the characters. In a second, I'll get to it, because in another question about Samantha, I'll get to what's on with her this season. With Anthony, it's just like it's always been, protect the group, figure out what the hell's going on somewhere else, and we're going to see him kind of try to again, as we seen at the end of season 5 when him and Samantha was holding hands in the end. They talk about the future. In the Plague movie, the Samantha movie, which is actually canon to the show, we seen at the end of it, them 2 weeks into past the end of season 5, trying to get ready for that future. They got the community they used to have back. They got people to run it now, and we see them on a cliff talking about, hey, this is the end of our stories and the beginning of the future, the beginning of people like our child's story when they're born. So we're mostly going to see him trying to build that future that everybody's always been about. That's what the theme of this season is building and fighting for the future that Anthony and Samantha and everybody's dreamed of for not only themselves, but everybody that wants to welcome themselves to it. Anybody that wants to join the group, or their kids' kids. It's all about the future now. Every other season's been about fighting for themselves, whereas now they're trying to actually build farther. So we're going to see him try to merge, like with Jay and his community, work together, stuff like that. With Jay, we're going to see a little bit of the first episode's kind of a not moving on thing, but we're going to see where she is past the death of Jim. We're actually going to see a new character on with her. You'll see him in the trailer named Kent. Interesting stuff between them this season. Very interesting, actually, because I just can't go into it, but we're going to see her try to play along with Anthony's future plan and try to actually build it with him. But there's going to be a little bit of problems along the way. Can't go into them, but we'll see how. Nothing like Anthony versus Jay, nothing like that. But you'll see in this season what comes up with that. So we're going to move on to question 5. So has Samantha finally had her baby? It was confirmed back in season 5 that after the plague virus started, that women, for mysterious reasons that we've not learned, started having their babies by 3 months of pregnancy instead of 9 months. In the season 6 description, it states it's been 8 months since the end of season 5. So has Samantha finally had her baby, or is it going to possibly reveal that she's lost the baby? And pull a season 2 Scott scene where he kills Anthony's pregnant girlfriend. Where everybody probably would expect to see the baby. What's that to see? I'm just going to say what to see about that. We'll see about it, but just know the season 2 scene with Sandy being killed should be enough to prove that I'm not afraid to kill the pregnant women in the show. I've actually been questioned about that before. A few years back, somebody said, "Well, why would you kill a pregnant woman?" And I was like, "It's a show. It's a show. It ain't like I'm gonna go out here and kill a pregnant woman. This is a story. This is a push these characters far enough to where they'll do certain things or hear certain things." I've been questioned about it before for people who don't think a show is just a show. So we'll actually get to that a little bit later. I just want to say we'll get to that a little bit later. So question 6, we have 2 more questions left to go. We're on question 6. For so long, fans have been eager to learn, and this ain't the most likely to be answered question, but it's one I felt like should have been thrown in here. Fans have been eager to learn the backstory of the mysterious Anthony, as he's one that's not much revealed his past through the show. We got a tad bit of that in season 5, episode 3. Are we going to get more this season since it's the last season? I do want to say, and I will go ahead and confirm it, we're going to get more backstory, and it's actually not going to be just one episode. It's actually going to be tied. It's going to be tied to a character. Can't talk about him, but everybody's going to love the backstories and why the backstories are going on, and it's actually going to happen all, at least throughout the first half. But it's not going to be just one episode. We're going to see it quite a few times throughout the season. Again, pretty interesting, especially with who he will be with it. But no, we're going to get more backstory on Anthony and learn a little bit more things about him. We're going to learn especially how he become to be the man who he is. That, of course, it can't just be off a note his mother left, but we're going to learn how he becomes such a badass, basically. I'm not trying to say he's exactly a badass, but, he is. On to question 7. Who was the guy in the teaser trailer with the mask that attacked Anthony? Is that the new big bad of the season? He's not he's kind of a big bad, but he's not the main guy of this season. I'll just go ahead and say he's not the main big bad of the season. He's actually going to be a pretty interesting character. And I was a little bit through whenever I was trying to figure out how to write the season and trying to figure out what characters to bring in, who they need to be. He was actually going to be a completely different character, and then I come up with the idea. I was like, well, maybe he should be this character. Maybe he should be this type of guy right here. I think he would click well into the season. I can't confirm much about him yet, but everybody's going to absolutely love his character. And let's just say episode 3 is going to be a really damn good episode. That's for sure. Everybody's going to love it. So now is the moment that everybody's probably waited to see, especially Dan and Matt here. Like they said earlier, they've been theorizing about this season. They're ready to see the trailer. I'll go ahead and say again, everybody, it's not. I know every season usually has text in it, but because of where so much stuff happens in episode 2, especially, there's only text scenes are from episode 1. Everything else is from episodes 1, 2, and 3. And there's one scene at the end of the trailer from episode 4. But in order to not spoil what's going on this season and to spoil questions everybody's probably asking themselves right now, there's not a trailer the trailer doesn't have a lot of reveals or anything else like that. Well, it has reveals, but not anything in text. After episode 2, after episode 2, there will be a trailer released for episodes 3, 4, and 5. But that won't be until episode 2 releases, because then a lot of things are confirmed that I can actually go on and show off in a trailer. So there will be another trailer, but I'm sorry it has to wait till after episode 2. Everybody will understand once you see episode 2 why I did it, and everybody will be happy I did it, because you don't want these things revealed in a trailer, because then it kind of ruins the oh shit moment that it's going to give when it comes. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and watch the trailer, and then we're going to have Dan, Matt come in and ask some questions. So we'll see everybody in just a few moments. Everybody enjoy the trailer for the final season.
Done been through the darkness, done crawled through the night, reaching out for redemption, reaching out for the light. Yeah, trying to find me some light. I done burned all the bridges on this lonely road. It's too late for forgiveness, pearly gates done closed. Got no place to go. So darling, if you see the devil, won't you tell him I'm coming home? I'm coming
home. Welcome back to PlagueCon, everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed the trailer. There's a lot of stuff in it. I do want to say that the trailer will be uploaded separately after PlagueCon goes live, or of course it's live now for all of you that actually watches right now. It's on YouTube as we speak. But after the PlagueCon ends live, the trailer will be uploaded. So definitely go through and pause the scenes and analyze and look around, even at the Plague people. Look around at them, and it's a lot of stuff to see. Again, it's going to cause you to ask more questions that you'll learn when the show comes back, but that's the point of it, ain't it? To take in question and break down and try to theorize what's coming. Again, a lot of scary shit's coming. But a lot of action in the trailer, but I don't want to sit and talk about it yet. I'm going to let Dan and Matt tell their thoughts on it, and then we're going to, of course, ask some questions. But again, let me introduce him. Here's Dan Reviews, the creator of World Gone Mad, and we have MegaMatt1254, who is mostly known for his Survival of the Fittest and their work on Wasteland World. So I'd like to introduce Dan's Reviews, MegaMatt1254.
What up, guys?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
So what's your guys' thoughts on the trailer?
I'll let you go first, Dan.
Cool. Well, I gotta tell you one thing, man. I mean, I actually like the way Anthony kind of talked about this trailer at first, because I remember at first, like, he was like, okay, there's not too much in this trailer. I'm like, all right, that's cool. And then I watched the trailer, and I'm like, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Friggin', so I actually like that, because you actually kind of threw us off a little bit. Friggin', I love it. Yeah, I mean, this looks like a really cool season. In particular, the thing that gets me the most is that guy in black, because I was kind of not sure what was going on with him, and the biggest thing that I kind of picked up on is, we see like him next to like a helicopter and all that too, right? So there's a lot of intrigue, a lot of plague people, and I don't know, the overall just vibe of the season does look final to me. I definitely get that vibe. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Really liked it. What about you, Matt?
I'd say for me, I love the action aspect of things, and yeah, I'd say the biggest standout for me is the confirmation of Anthony's son being born. We have that kid who is now in the show now. We'll have to see what goes on there, and we got tons of plague people. And like I said, this is just a fan theory, is I think the dude with like the leather jacket and the mask is Thug from 503 season 5, the flashback. That's like my thoughts on it.
Whenever I was creating the character and whenever we got him in his outfit, that's why I was sitting there thinking mostly, I was like, everybody's gonna look at this guy and be like, "He looks like Thug," and it's just interesting. I started thinking until I made the character, but everybody's gonna love that character. Again, I can't reveal much about him, but there will be reasons everybody loves him, especially reasons you guys will love him. Again, I can't confirm nothing, just like, any question I get asked, just about that's kind of I like how everybody's questioning how he looks like Thug. And just more theories, more fun to it. So, anyways, questions. Whichever one of you want to go first, I'll let you decide that among yourselves, but I know you guys definitely have a lot of questions probably to ask.
Cool.
Well, if you want to ask a question, Dan, I guess I'll let you go first.
Sure. We'll do what we did last time. We'll alternate. So
cool.
I'll start off with the first one. This one definitely. I mean, I just really. It's gonna be a question, but I know the answer is gonna be very vague. I'm already prepared for this, but I mean that's the fun of it, right? So first thing is, I would love to hear what you can tease about that helicopter, and obviously anything you can say about just the overall idea of what that is. I know this is going to be a bleak answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. What can you tease about the helicopter?
So, it's going to be a very out of nowhere moment, and let's just say that. And I'm going to go ahead and I was going to say something, but I don't want to because I know everybody's going to ask the question. Because let's start out with, as we know, that were introduced, not formally introduced, but we seen a helicopter for the first time in season 4, episode 13. At the end, when Anthony and Josh were coming back, the day they actually made up all their differences, they seen a helicopter go overhead. They didn't know what it was about. They just didn't question it. They was like, "We gotta get home." Then, of course, episode 14 at the end, we see David. We see him with Altruist, and we learn that was actually his helicopter over the skies, and we learned that he took out Altruist after coming to San Andreas and then going back to get more people. He killed One World Order people, took them over, took their helicopter, had Jim, took him. So we met the One World Order then, and of course we met them again in season 5, episode 9. Or episode 8, I mean, with Josh meeting Dan, who revealed in episode 10 or 11, I can't, or 9 or 10, that he was One World Order, and revealed what they were, that they were, trying to make a cure. They have been for the past 6 years trying to get a cure, and that they had to take Josh because he knew about him. It's very dangerous for anybody to know. We're actually going to learn more about that in the Josh movie, why they don't want people to know about him, the thing they're scared about. But again, we learned about them then, who they were, what their motives were, and of course at the end of the season, Josh left with Dan to go to Washington, D.C., as Dan thought that the knowledge about the altruist, their cure method, could be turned into an actual cure, not by people eating each other, but somehow, however that works, they can create some type of vaccine out of the germs or whatever to fix things. It's been 8 months. Josh still ain't home. We don't know if he's dead. We don't know if he's alive. We don't know if that's him at the end in that suit with the helicopter. We don't know if that's him. We don't know who it is. Could be Dan, could be Josh, could be One World Order people. But anyways, with all that said, I can't reveal, again, it's going to be a vague answer. I can't reveal why they're in San Andreas, why they're back in San Andreas again. But it's a setup for something bigger. And really, honestly, something scary. Again, it's a vague answer. I can't give much. Other than Anthony sees the helicopter, and unlike Season 4, he actually chases it down, and he don't exactly learn much, but he's going to learn something that'll play a part in the story going forward. Something that it's going to be very interesting and very exciting, and again, how this trailer seemed like an actual final trailer and kind of gave the mood of a final season. They're going to play a part into that, and we're going to learn their part happened in the background, and again, it's something very scary. Their motive is going to be scary. What they did is going to be scary, and a lot of people's lives are probably at risk. That's the answers I can give. What they're doing, I can't confirm. Not yet.
Awesome.
Cool.
Do you have a that's my answer, by the way, if I was wondering.
Perfect.
Cool. All right. I just got back, so friggin', let me think of a question here. Actually, you know what? This is like the biggest thing on my mind is friggin', how much time has passed since the season 5 finale to where we're at now?
8 months. Eight months.
About 8 months. Cool. Friggin',
It gave time for the characters in the background to get more formally acquainted and to kind of push things past, because if you remember at the end of season 5, Jay went back to her people. I can't remember if I revealed then that her people ain't much happy. Well, no, I think I did reveal something along the lines of, where people were just died in the fight with David, that she feared that she needs to go back there, that people probably ain't gonna be too happy about it. And let's just say that 8 months later, we'll see that some people still ain't kind of very okay with Anthony's people. It's not only just because people died in the fight and they only lost Doc and Jim, but we're going to learn there's a few different things that's progressed over the 8 months as to why they disagree with this whole future idea. But no, it's been 8 months. It gave it time for, in the background, things to happen. It gave time for Anthony to be born. Because, of course, if it would have only been a month after the end of the season 5 finale, we would have seen a very newborn baby. And the interesting fact about that is I went into Sims 4, created a baby, went around, took some screenshots at different angles, poured it into something called Corel Draw, and kind of edited the baby out of the background of those, placed it into frozen images of the episodes, and so there's just a baby pasted onto an image of that chair. So that's literally, whenever I filmed the episode and got it off the Xbox, literally all you could see is that chair. There was no baby in it, of course. I just plastered it.
Of course.
So that gave it to where I could make him a toddler. So he's about 7 months. The baby's 7 months. So he's setting up not exactly toddler, but the way he looks now is close to, like the age in the Sims. But again, that's why, just to kind of bring things in the background, let some things happen and some things pass, because season 5 ended on such a big note that a time skip was mostly the only thing that can move past that, because if there wouldn't have been a time skip, they probably had some things still about David and the altruist, and I completely wanted that to stay in season 5 and season 6 to be something else. So
Cool. All right. So what's your next question, Dan?
All right, so this one, I mean, I know there's going to be a PlagueCon, obviously, for like, future stuff, but I think this is definitely a perfect time to ask this question. Is obviously with 6 years, 6 seasons, I mean, that's crazy, and I love how it syncs up perfectly too. 6 years, 6 seasons, but anyway, for you, what is it like in terms of just how you feel you've come as a showrunner? And it's something I'm very curious to hear about. How do you feel like the plague has affected your life from when it started and now where you're at now? How do you feel like it's changed your life? The good, the bad, all that kind of stuff.
It's brought me. I'm trying to think. When I first started the show, I've published since I started the show. I've of course have this show. I've been in something called the Gaming Weekly. I've acted a ton in that. I've acted a ton in a few things. The show has brought me closer to knowledge of, it showed me more of how much story isn't just a story. It's basically letting your imagination run free. The way it's affected my life, though, I don't know. It feels like raising a baby and then it growing old enough to where it moves out. That's basically what it feels like. Because I said earlier that I've spent like 2/3 of every year on the show, like at least 200 days out of the year, thinking about the show, on what I need to do, putting the story together, filming it, editing it. It feels like raising a child, and it actually growing and moving out. That's what it feels like to me. And knowing that it's still going to be on the internet for years and years for people to watch over and over if they want to, or whatever, or new people that don't know what it is to go and watch it and finish through it. So, as if it's changed my life, I can't think of how it's changed it, but how it's affected me is I've met plenty of people. There's been plenty of guest people starring. There's been plenty of friends starring. Plenty of new people I've met just for the show starring. I've seen people come and go plenty of times. I've met all sorts of people, all different types of people. Some people who prefer staying up late or staying up all day, or some people hateful and some people not, or I've met all types of people over the years, and it's something that's definitely, it's more been like a social club for me the whole time. But I can still remember when I started the show. It was all supposed to be just a project to test out Rockstar Editor, with me and my cousin Corey, in the first episode. And then 2 months later, I'm like, hey, we'll go ahead and start the show. Episodes 2 and 3 is coming in a few months, or coming next month. And then it's been ever since then, and that's what I think about whenever I think about the show, is if it wouldn't have been for that, we wouldn't be right here right now. I wouldn't have, the show taught me, just how much story should be appreciated, to where I ended up publishing books, a few of them, to where I've tried to write more shows, where I've acted in other things. If it wasn't for the plague, I don't think I would have published anything, went and acted out in anything. I think I still would be writing little comic books on paper and throwing them in a box, or writing stories and throwing them in a box. So it's definitely brought me to a brighter aspect of, wow, just how much, especially whenever you create a story and see it on paper, or especially see it on screen like the plague and your guys' shows and everything else, once you see your story out there, it just amazes you as to how much your imagination can run. And that's what intrigues me so much about it, is not only the imagination, but the entertainment that other people get off of it. They basically see into your mind whenever, not that you think about the things. Like, I don't want, not that I think about killing people, but because the show, because that's, but it lets people see into like, wow, this is the type story they can come up with. This is how creative they are with their imagination. That's as much as a straightforward answer I can give to that question about, how it's been in life, what it's been like, what it means now. But it's definitely it's sad to see it go, but it's time to go at this point.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my next question, I think, this is something that I've had on my mind for a few months now, ever since you dropped the season 6 teaser trailer. And that is, obviously, I'm assuming you can't answer much about this, but, friggin', what could you tease about the plague people holding weapons and stuff like that? Like when he pulls out the knife.
We're actually going to... Ooh, I can't give much about that. We're going to slowly learn what's going on with that. Like, there's going to be investigation into that, and then we're going to learn what's happening, and then we're going to learn why what's happening is happening. But let's just say that there is a motive. There is a motive to the people with the knives, because, again, they could be regular people. They could be plague people. They could be altruists. There is people in the show, they actually, especially Anthony, we're going to see him question, is these altruists? Are they still around? The new character will question it, but we're going to see people throw around a few different ideas, and a few people act differently over the ideas. No, I can't give much about that. Let's just say that these people, whether people or plague people, there's a little bit of a motive, and let's just say they're helping out the plague people. Again, I can't say whether it's other plague people or like normal plague people or whatever, but let's just say they're helping out the plague people, as in a means of, I can't think of what to say about that other than they're helping out the plague people. They may or may not be regular people, and that's what's scary, because if you think about it, if they've lived with plague people all this time, and they're just now starting this, and our characters have never been used to this, and they can hide among them like that with weapons, it's going to be scary shit for them. But we'll learn more about it. Like, I don't want everybody to sit here and think, well, they're just people, this is going to be a repeat. They're like altruists. Altruists can go through them just fine if they were cured. But I don't want to sit here and say it could be something else too. So again, it's just, we'll have to see. But it's, like I said, it's scary shit. Very scary shit. Especially for the final season to bring it up. I do wish I could answer that question so bad with a full honest answer. So, but anyways, we'll learn. Episode 2, we're going to see more about that. So, just
cool.
Let's see, April 24th it comes back, so I think it's the first few days in May. Let's see episode 2, so not long now.
Awesome. And well, this is at least the only other question I have, so this will be at least my last question. This is one that I feel like, definitely, it's the biggest intrigue, I would say, based off the way season 5 ended, and I mean, this character is literally like a major part of the show now. So my last question would be, I am curious to know what you can tease about Jay, and I guess more so what I'm asking about her is that, what can you tease about, obviously, like, her role with Anthony and Samantha? Because, there was a lot of stuff at the end of that season that was kind of like, oh, like, what is she going to think? Is she going to learn the truth about what happened to Jim and stuff like that, right? So what could you tease about Jay's arc this season, and what can we expect?
We're going to see she's come a long way into building trust, especially between her and Anthony. We're going to see a good few times of them trying to plan together and to plan their communities together on how can we do this to make things better. We're going to her arc, if she makes it, at least for the first half, because who knows, she may not make it out of the first half, because we know I have a mass reputation for killing off all people of a group within the first half. But her arc, at least for the first half, is going to be towards trying to build this future with Anthony. Not with, but trying to work together with him to do this well. These communities need to work together, build for the future for everybody, not just for one community to build it for themselves, but to work together. And we're going to see her go along with Anthony's plan, but her arc is also going to consist of trying to hold back people who's trying to go against that plan and trying to think as we don't need a future with them. We need a future with ourselves and to focus on ourselves, because not everybody's going to be on the path of, well, we need to build a future. But we're going to see her try to hold that back and try to deal with being a leader while also dealing with broken links to the chain. So her arc's mostly just going to consist of trying to build with the future and also trying to be a leader with a broken group, because her group is still broken, and we're going to see that they're still kind of scared and shattered, and something that happens within the first few episodes is going to play a major part into why they're shattered and why they're getting shattered. So her arc is just helping with that future, at least for the first half. She don't have much to her arc, at least, but it's still going to be pretty big at the same time. Because I can't say much, because then I'll reveal who's doing certain things, why they're doing certain things, and why they're the big bag. So I can't reveal much about her arc, other than she's just going to try to hold people back from destroying what Anthony is trying to build with all of them.
Nice. Awesome. Well, that's all of the questions I have. Let me know, Matt, if you have any more before we close out the segment.
I guess my last question will be, what can you tease about the new character, the guy that we see with Jay? What can you kind of tease about that character?
He's going to be very arrogant. He's going to be a very, very arrogant person. We're gonna see he actually has sort of a thing for Jay. At least we'll see it in the first episode, and it'll play out into the second. But there's not much I can reveal about him, because he's got a pretty big story too. Other than, let's just say he doesn't think for everybody, but we're going to see that he cares for people. But he cares for people in a way that's kind of odd. I can't reveal much about him either. There's just so much that it's sad that in the final season I can't reveal a lot, because there's so much that happens in the first 2 episodes. But we're going to see that he's very pushy. He's going to want things to be his way. Of course, he wants it to be Jay's way, but we're going to see him push her to, well, let's do things this way for everybody instead of just this way for everybody. But he's going to be a major pain in the ass at times too. Can't reveal much about him. I can't reveal much about him.
It's all good. It's all good.
Cool.
But yeah, really interested to see what you do with all this stuff in this season.
I'm just glad that so far everybody's enjoying what's being seen and said so far. Okay, so now we're going to skip on to the final segment of the panel for the Plague final season. So this, again, it was revealed as a mystery segment, but there's not no much of a mystery segment now, because here we are. This segment is to give special thanks to a few people, to all the fans, really, because of course we're ending the end of this panel, the final one for the Plague main series, which is kind of sad, but this is to give special thanks to all the fans who have especially been here over all the 6 years, ones who've joined even a year ago, or 5 days ago, or a day ago. This is a thank you to giving your support to a show that don't have voices, that don't have mods to make it really good, that has been a very, very hard thing to make for 6 years straight on a GTA. Thank you for the support of it. But I want to give special thanks to 3 people. One is Cade Woody, Dans Reviews, and MegaMatt1254. As the 3 have been very outgoing fans for the past. Let's see, I remember Matt, I think he come around season 4. Dan's been here since season 2, and Cade's been here since the very beginning. And throughout all the time that they've been here as fans, they've given time and dedication and hard work at times to the show itself. In times whenever the show was in a very boring state or a questionable state, or they've stayed here for support throughout all of it. So I definitely want to give a thanks out to them, but we're going to go into detail about the things they've done. Cade has done fan art, and you guys are going to start seeing some stuff on the screen as to things like fan art, the images of certain things. But Cade has done fan art. He done a tribute back when the Plague original season 4 was ending. He done a tribute to the show. Like I said, he's done fan art. He's been here at the beginning. I actually can remember that, I remember that all 3 of them let me know how it inspired them before, and that he supported this show through the thick and thin of it. I can remember a conversation I was having with Dan and Matt before. Can't remember when this was. It was during one of the rewrite decisions. But I remember Dan talking about the dedication that Cade's put to the series. And I remember this was when I was trying to make a decision on either to do a rewrite, bring back the original season 4, I think it was, to do a rewrite of season 5, keep the original season 5, or bring back original season 4 and keep it. And I remember we was talking, and we was like, well, why Cade? Somebody who's put a lot of dedication into this show. We even done a tribute a long time ago. And we finally ended up being able to make that worth it by bringing, the original season 4 in as a Samantha Dream movie. But it reminded me that all these years, especially to be here from the beginning and to sit here through a season 4 original that turned into a rewrite, and then sit through season 5 that ended up being a rewrite, and then to still not complain. Nobody's ever, not everybody's listed concerns, and but nobody's directly shit on anything. He's been here through all of it, and still puts in dedication of the fan art that he makes, and it's something that I can't thank him for enough. And honestly, he was going to be here as the host for the event. I remember asking him, he's like, yeah, I'll be there. And I was excited to have him, but unfortunately he's busy, so he couldn't come into it. But I know you're definitely watching this, Kate, especially since it's the final season. I want to thank you for all the dedication you've put towards this show. You've done amazing with the creation of everything you've done for your Wasteland world, and I can tell you definitely take a lot of pride in that. And I can't wait to see what your journey takes you through. Like you said, you're in college. I can't wait to see what you do with yourself in life, and I guarantee it's going to be something amazing, as you've done stuff amazing yourself, as you're a very dedicated and loyal person to the things that you admire and watch and create. So with that said, I hope that everything good comes to you, and I cannot wait to see your thoughts on the new Plague stuff that's coming out, because I know you'll be here through all of it. So I definitely can't wait to see, especially since you've been here since the main beginning, and to continue going on after 6 years. That's dedication. So again, thank you, Cade, and I can't wait to see what you think of the stuff coming next, and especially because I know you'll have some stuff to say about PlagueCon. But anyways, thank you. We're going to move on to Dan. Especially, Dan has done a lot. Not that everybody else hasn't done a lot, but Dan is a multi-reviewer of many things, as some of my people that watch him because you found the Plague because of him and subscribe to me. So few of you, or most of you, watch him that's come to me to watch whenever he reviewed the show. So most of you know about his reviews, and of course he posts them in the fan chat for the few people that are in there from the channel. So everybody knows he is a multi-reviewer. He's got a big fan base. I mean, even though some people are like, well, almost 2,000 subscribers ain't a big fan base, to me that is a big fan base. Especially to see how far he's come from whenever he was like, I think whenever I started watching, he was 200, 300, 400 subscribers. I can't remember. I just know it was in the few hundreds, and then now he's all the way up here above everybody. Because I remember back then I had a little bit more than he did, but now he's so much above all of us, and is becoming an inspiration to us whenever we was inspirations to him. So to get on to what he's done for the show. When he come around, he started reviewing. He reviewed all season 1. Then he started with season 2. He started from then on. He started doing it when the episodes would come out, and he reviewed it all the way up until the rewrite decision for season 5. Because of course, season 4 original come out. It ended. I decided to rewrite that, and he reviewed all that along with that original. Then we done original season 5. It was shit, so I decided to do a rewrite. Or not rewrite it. First, it was going to be bring out the original season 4. He reviewed an episode of that, and then, of course, I went and done the rewrite decision for season 5. He done a few reviews of that, had them, unlisted, ready to go. And then there was, excuse me. No, I'm right. I don't know. I'm confused on if I done the original comeback first or rewrite first. But either way, he reviewed them, and then he reviewed a few episodes of season 5, and then, of course, I think that's when I was like, well, we'll bring the original back or something like that. Because him and Matt, and there's another thing I'll mention here in a second, he's reviewed multiple episodes of the show. He's especially been here through the thick and thin of it, with the pain in the ass I've made it with how I've done rewrite after rewrite. He stayed through the thick and thin, and even after that, he's still here watching. He's been at every PlagueCon we've had so far, giving time out of his day to watch the show, to be here, to sit and do reviews, to sit and do everything he's done. He's done spotlights for characters before. So Dan has done a lot work-wise for this show, and he's stuck here through it from the beginning. And just like he's sticking it out to the end, and I'm sure he'll stick through it with everything else that's to come. And that I can't wait for everybody to see, for them to see. But so Dan's here, so I can personally thank him. I'd like to personally thank you, Dan, for the dedication, for the loyalty, for the admiration, for everything you've done for this show to this point, and that you continue to do. I would personally like to thank you. And I'm happy to have, especially have wrote, whenever you joined in, you and Matt joined in the season 5 to help with the rewrite. You guys helped with the first 5 episodes, helped whenever give ideas for what I should change in the script. You guys joined on to help with that. You've done reviews, you've done spotlights, you've sat here through PlagueCon, you've sat here through the questions I've put in the Discord, the teases, and saying how excited you were. You've been here for a long time, and to still give dedication after all the pain that I accidentally made it with rewrites and bringing back the originals and everything else. I'd like to personally thank you for that.
Oh, honestly, man, I mean, it's actually nice to be able to kind of reply to all this too, being on here. But yeah, honestly, this has been insane. I mean, your show was, and I'm sure you remember this, your show was the first thing I reviewed when, like, I used to just be a Walking Dead guy. I would review Walking Dead stuff. That's it. I didn't know where to go with my channel. And then I found your show, and I was like, wait a minute. This is really cool. Like, this is something that's really unique. Nobody's ever done anything like this. And I mean, honestly, like I said before, this is a show that I would never ever give up on it. No matter what kind of changes have been made, no matter what has happened to it, I'll always be here. I'm always gonna be here. And like I said, when this is all said and done, when this show is completed, and this is, I guess, one thing that I want to kind of announce to everybody on this PlagueCon, there will be a full coverage of this final season on the channel, just for you and just for everybody that's watched the reviews. Dan's Reviews will cover the final season of the Plague. Once it's done, there will be a video about it, so you guys can look forward to that.
I definitely can't wait to see it. The reviews, I remember, always said, wait for those, and then I don't know, it made me know, hey, I'm doing this right, hey, I'm doing this wrong. So it's definitely, a heartwarming news to me to hear, especially since you were the first reviewer of the show, I think it was Ryan's TWD channel, but the first I don't want to dog anybody, so I ain't gonna say what I was about to say. I was gonna say first loyal, first. I forgot the word for it. Continuous reviewer of the show. and the longest running reviewer of the show. So that's definitely news to me. First time me hearing about it, so I'm definitely excited for that, and I can't wait to hear it. I don't want to say I can't wait for the season to be over to hear it, because I'm already sad that it's final season, so I can't wait to see that video. I'm sad. I wish the play could go on forever, but I know I definitely can't wait to see it. I know Rebel, he constantly, whenever the reviews first stopped for at least a year, he kept asking me, he's like, so is Dan going to continue with his reviews? Is he going to do reviews again? I was like, well, I don't know. As far as I know, I think he's done with them. I was like, well, I mean, if you want to ask, you can. Then he'd go and sit and ask about it. But he asked about it for so long, and still every now and again he'll ask. He'll be like, so is Dan going to start reviewing it again? I was like, well, at this point I don't think he is. It's been about half a year since he's asked me, though. So I think he knows at this point that he can ask me a million times, but I don't know what to tell him. But that's definitely going to be news to him. I know he's going to enjoy it. I know fans that watch the show on my channel is going to enjoy to watch that. I'm going to enjoy it. Everybody's going to enjoy it. But again, thank you for that. That announcement's made my day.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thank you for everything you've done, and again, everything you're going to continue to do. As long as you do it, thank you for it.
Of course.
So now we're going to move on to MegaMatt. MegaMatt is done. He started doing reviews in season 4. He done a few reviews for season 4. That's when he joined the show. At least I think it's when he joined the show. But he's done reviews for it. The original season 4. He's been here since then. I don't know, when did you join, Matt?
It was the original season 4, the second half. It was right around the time that aired.
I was thinking it was the original, because I can remember around, I think you did a tribute too, didn't you?
I made a tribute right as the show ended, yep.
Okay, so Matt did a tribute to the show. He's done a tribute, he's done reviews. He was one of the co-writers of season 5 along with Dan. Again, he's another one who's been here through the thick and thin of it, who's gave dedication and time and everything to the show, and I can't thank him enough. It's been an honor to have you and Dan here, especially now. You've been here through every PlayCon right along with Dan. The most pain in the ass moments with the rewrites and stuff, Dan's been through them, you've been through them too, Cade's been through them. None of you necessarily listed thoughts and concerns, but nobody's directly shit on the ideas of what's going on. But I'd like to thank you for the stuff you've done too. And again, everybody that's watching this now, of course, you're seeing some stuff on the screen, photos, things they've done for it. To give thanks as where this is the final season. I just feel like you guys deserve the thanks and appreciation for it. But no, I thank you for what you did for this show, Matt. And of course, you have a lot on your plate with your shows, and you had a lot of things happen in the past. So of course, you didn't get to continue your reviews and stuff like that. But you did stick around behind the scenes, and of course, like I said, you joined in the season 5 rewrite to help with that. Everything else, and your theories, because you give theories about what goes on. You give thoughts and theories about what you think is going to happen. You ask questions about, well, what is this, or what's going to go on with this, and I always enjoy answering the questions. So you definitely, even with that, with putting it in the Discord, you give the other fans, so they see that. That gives them questions to wonder about, and everything else. So you and Dane are definitely influencers of, and especially K2. Definitely mega fans, as I put it, big mega fans of the shows. But I'd like to thank you, Matt, for the dedication and appreciation. Like I said with everybody else, dedication, appreciation, to everything you've given this show, and that you're continuing to give it for the spin-offs and the movies, everything else to come. So thank you, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And yeah, like I said, once final season's done, I same as Dan, I'll definitely, what I want to do is a retrospective kind of video, and it'll be kind of like a looking back on the series as a whole kind of thing. I kind of want to do that, and maybe even a second tribute down the line.
Definitely cannot wait to see that. Again, just like I said to Dan, I'm very excited to see that, and it warms my heart to hear that about a big mega review of the final season. I can't wait to see them. You guys always did good. I loved your thoughts whenever you did it before. So I know I'll love them whenever they come out again, and especially to see what everybody thinks of this season that's coming, or see what you guys think of it. I'm definitely excited, and it warms my heart to hear an announcement from the both of you. Again, I can't thank you enough, and I can't help but to thank you in advance for the tributes to come and the reviews to come, or the big mega review, and again, how you said possibly a tribute. I definitely can't wait to see that. But again, thank you, Matt, and thank you, Dan. And thank you.
Absolutely, dude.
Absolutely. And well, I mean, I'll even say too, I guess before we close out this segment, I will say one thing too. For any of y'all that had watched the Plague reviews on my channel, I mean, back then I didn't do it. These days I do it. So this will be kind of interesting yeah, we usually do little funny black and white skits as well at the beginning of the videos. So we'll be able to crack some jokes and do some cool stuff at the beginning of the reviews as well. So that'll be something I'll be doing.
I actually want to touch on that real fast. There's one I was sitting and thinking about that. I will never forget the one of God. I think it was the Josh one. The episode. It was the original season 5, episode 6. I think when they was having about episode 5 or 6 when they was having Josh's funeral. It was the time to bring out the cones. Well, I remember I cracked up to that one. Of course, I remember I couldn't find nothing to use as tombstone. I didn't want to use rocks. I was like, oh, hey, well, let's use a cone. But I swear, that line that you had in that black and white intro just made my day with that. But no, I can't wait to see the black and white with what you have in store for the black and white. Because I've always enjoyed your black and white intros. I'd go back and watch some of them sometimes. Not just the Plague, but you've had some different stuff that I'd sit and watch. And how you had in your Discord, had that little thing where black and white intros where you put them in there too. I'd sit and watch those. I always enjoyed the black and white intros, and just keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Absolutely.
The best things.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to close this segment and panel out with a thank you to everybody. As this is it. This is the final few moments of the last ever PlagueCon for the Plague main series. I'd like to thank all the fans, all the cast, all the crew, everybody that's ever worked on it, being in it, people who gave ideas, people who's done the reviews, like MegaMatt and Dan, and done tributes and stuff like that. I'd like to thank everybody, because if it wasn't for the dedication and for the push for me to move on with it, the show would not have been here if not for the fans. That's what it was made for, is the fans, for your entertainment, not for me. I probably would never been able to continue with it. I remember I always said, if it doesn't get at least 20 views per episode, then I'm not going to continue it. But it always would at least keep up 30 per episode, 30 to 50-ish per episode. And it, within a week at least, or 2 weeks, it would reach that. And it kept me going. It showed me, hey, we have people that want to come back and watch this every week. I'm doing something good. I'm entertaining people. It's never been about me. Just like I don't care about the fame of it. Just like I'm not out here, I don't have time for YouTube. So I don't have time for, trying to gain subscriber after subscriber after subscriber. I just like to make art, to make film, to make books. It's just something I've always enjoyed to do, and I love the entertainment part of it. Because when somebody watches a show, your mind runs. I can watch shows all the time, and my mind sets and runs. Of like, hey, I could use this in a story, or hey, they could do this in this show, or this or that. It brings the imagination part of your mind out. And that's why, especially making a show, you can let your mind run free in so many different ways that I'm honestly glad I did it, but I would not have ever done it if it wasn't for the fans. So I'd like to thank everybody for all the dedication you gave, for the people who's been here a long time, for the people who's been here a day. Thank you, because you still gave, even if you gave 1 minute, you've gave 1 minute of your time to see what this show is. You made the decision to click on that video on YouTube. You seen that intro, you seen the title, you seen the thumbnail. You said, hey, I'm going to look at this and see what it is, even if you just gave 1 minute and plan to watch it again. Thank you for the time you gave to show that I'm doing something right. But I've enjoyed giving the entertainment of this show, and I hate that it's being put to rest after 6 years. But every story has an end, and that's going to be a theme this season too, is that even after the end of a story, there's always more to be told. There's never an ending to something. Just because one book closes, another one always opens. So, even with the ending of this show, there's more to come, and I cannot wait to bring it to the table. It's going to be a very slow process, as I have a family now, and even though it's going to be stuff I'll explain how it's all be done in a minute, to where I don't have to give up time with them. It's still going to be a very slow process, but again, thank you for everything, every bit of dedication, all the artwork some of you have made. A few people have made little versions of Anthony of their own, and I enjoyed that. It made my day when I seen those. But the things you people have done for this show is just amazing. So I'd like to thank all you guys out there, and of course Stan and Matt here, and Cade, who's watching this right now as we speak. Well, not as we speak, but as it's live on YouTube. I'd like to thank all of you for everything you've done. With that said, this is because this, and it's actually sad me saying this. I never thought I'd fully say this, but this is my final time at PlagueCon, unless Anthony survives the series. He could survive the series, may die, you never know. This, at least for the main show, this is my final time being here as the actor of Anthony. And that is sad and heartbreaking to say. For the main show, at least. It's actually sad to say that this is my final time being here as Anthony. For the main show, of course the main show's going away. I'm going to miss it. I know all the fans are going to miss it, but hey, it'll be on YouTube for years to come to watch and enjoy and to cherish every moment over and over and over again, because I sure as hell will be watching it over and over and over again. At least I will. But I mean, it's my baby. I created it, so of course I'm gonna watch it all the time. And I know some fans are gonna go back and watch it. But it's sad to say it, but thank you everybody for watching the show and for crying with us, laughing with us, and everything you've done all these years. With that said, this is it. This is the end of the Plague final season panel. So, we're going to move on to the final panel of PlagueCon, panel 2, which I've titled Plans for Expanding the Franchise, in which I know everybody's been excited to hear about these things since I revealed them back in PlagueCon Part 2 last year. A few of them, some of them was revealed after the show on its break, but so here we're in segment 1. This is the news about the Scott movies and Josh movies that were planned that I've discussed before. Again, after Scott was killed off in the mid-season season 5, we talked about 2 movies to come with his journey from the beginning of, the plague, not the main show, but of the virus to where he was then. There's going to be one movie it's going to be changed to one movie. It won't come until 2024. More than likely not till mid or late 2024. Again, as I've just realized after having a child that a lot of my time is more time is taken than what I thought would be. So that show, it could be early 2024, but it's not going to be a very urgent to get out thing, because the Josh movie has to come out by a certain point. The anthology series has to come out this year. It has to start coming out. So the Scott movie will still come, but it will be next year. With that said, and the Josh movie, well, let me go ahead and say this. The Scott movie will not be in GTA. And I actually am going to say this has been a flip from me inspiring people like inspiring Dan, Matt, and Cade. I've actually been inspired by Dan in what I'm going to do. I remember whenever I started watching Mortal Gone Mad, I was intrigued by how you had images and you was narrating it. You was narrating the story and had the images on the screen, and it just fit. It didn't seem like, oh, this is boring. All this is narration and a few pretty pictures on the screen. It was like, as I was watching those images, as I was looking at those images and hearing you narrate the episode, I just sat there and thought in my head about how the scene was going, like what it looked like, motion like, what it looked like. And I was sitting there thinking, this is cool. This is actually pretty interesting. I love this. And so I thought recently, I was like, well, it's going to be very hard for me, because it's hard for me to film the final season right now. I've only got 5 episodes filmed. So I was thinking, well, how can I still do all these movies and shows without having to give my time being on an Xbox, having to give time away from my family to be on Xbox? Because that was one of the reasons seeing in the show already, is that way I could give more time to them. So I thought, well, how about I draw the scenes? It won't be like a frame by frame, but think of a comic book. A comic book has, all these panels of the scenes playing out, and then it has the bubbles in the middle. Well, I thought of, why don't I do the movies, have them be stop, kind of, I guess you call it stop motion or picture frame, or whatever you want to call it. Just think of a comic book in an episode. Draw them out, and it ain't going to be me narrate over them. I'll actually reveal Rebel Tea Time is going to narrate. He's actually going to narrate, because it's going to work that way for the anthology series, for the Scott movie, for the Josh movie. The Scott movie may be an exception. I don't know yet, but the Josh and anthology series will be drawn and narrated. And the narration will be done by, the narration of the Josh movie, will be by Yellowish Object. The anthology series will be Rebel Tea Time. But that's how I've decided to do that, because whenever I seen that, when you'd first look at it, like whenever you'd first think, some people look at that and they'll think, well, maybe this is going to be boring. But whenever you sit and listen to that, and you sit, because whenever you would sit and narrate, like Dan, when you'd sit and narrate it, it would sit and it makes you think, like, okay, well, this character's doing this. You see him, pointing guns, shooting at people, driving cars. You can see it in your mind, along with that picture on the screen. It gives you the setting. So I was thinking, well, that could work, that way. With, I can draw the pictures of Josh, and like in the movie, Josh and Dan killing people or working with One World Order people, and have somebody narrate over it. Or even have voices. It would work. I could have voices in it easy. Because I was thinking about making the Josh movie voiced over with all characters being voiced. But no, I actually do want to say you have inspired me to do something a certain way as well.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the news about the Josh and Scott movies. I'll go into we all know the story of the Josh movies, but the Scott movies is just going to focus on him finding him from the beginning of the plague, going up to the Paleto Bay community and becoming leader there. So yeah, but I do want to say, Dan, I did draw inspiration from you from that. That's where I've got the idea to do it, actually.
Awesome, man. Well, this is news to me, so I'm going to be watching it, so that is amazing news.
It especially feels good to know that it, like knowing that somebody's doing something out of inspiration how you've done it. Like it feels good. Like I've said, like I've inspired quite a few people, and it always feels good to see that somebody doing something off of inspiration, that you've inspired them. It's a good feeling. You're gonna love it, especially seeing it when it's on the screen. But no, that's the news about it. About the two of those, and then that was a short panel. I know, everybody. But we're going to move on to segment 2. We have 2 more segments to go. There's a surprise one at the end with segment 3. But segment 2 is the Play Anthology Series Story Details Revealed. Of course, there's no footage. It's not been, because I just recently made a decision to not do it on Xbox, do it picture drawn. It don't come till later this year. There will be a trailer in part 2 this year for it. The Josh movie. The Josh movie will come out in between the first and second half of Season 6. I can't explain why, but we'll see why. It's going to come out in between the first and second half of the season, which is what we'll see what happened to Josh. Why is he not back 8 months after, in the main show? Why did he not come back to the main show 8 months later after Season 5? Is he alive? Is he dead? Did he die while over with One World Order? We're going to find that out in the Josh movie that's to come in between Season 6. I think I said in between Season 5 and 6. I didn't mean to. In between first and second half of season 6. We'll see that movie come, which means it'll be here in June or July. So everybody get ready for that. But we're going to move on to the anthology series stuff. So this is mostly just everybody that doesn't want to go back and watch PlagueCon, write this down on pen and paper. But I'm going to be reviewing the synopsis and titles of the first 6 episodes of the anthology series. So and I'll even reveal the date. The show will start August 7th of this year. That'll be the first episode premiere, and then it'll be every week there will be an episode. So the first episode is going to actually be Corey, the fan favorite of season 1, the one that everybody loved that died way too early. So what we're going to see with him is Corey barely survived on his own 2 years into the apocalypse, is found by a military group who takes him in as one of their own. But after staying a few days and learning dark things about the group deeds, he begins to question if staying is the right choice. If everybody remembers, and the book touched more on it, we didn't know a lot of it in the show, but in the book we know that Corey was part of Andy's group, and I think he actually said it in the show in a flashback in the 6th episode of the first season, which is why Anthony went and attacked them, because Corey said they were bad people. But what this is talking about, this episode is going to show how Corey joined Andy's group and why he left. It's going to show the dark things that Andy did and why he began choosing where he needed to stay or not. We're going to see how he handled leaving, what happened when he left, and how it factored into Andy killing him in episode 3. Which of course we didn't even know then that he knew Corey, but but anyways, so that's what's going on with that. We're going to see how Corey, that's his backstory that we're going to learn. Then episode 2 is going to be about Andy, and his episode is trapped in his place of work at the beginning of the end of the world. Andy tries to survive with a co-worker to wait for help to arrive, but when resources start running low, the two friends begin to lose their sanity, leading to an altercation that shows them the world they're going to have to soon accept to live in or die denying, which is where we're going to learn how Andy went crazy, and we're going to actually see his iconic golf club and how he loves to use it. We're going to see how he got that, where he was, how he was, who he was, and who he became immediately, and why he became who he did. So that's going to be about Andy. It's going to show his backstory. The 3rd episode of the first season will be about Timothy and Eric, the hillbilly Hicks, as I've heard people refer to him before. Their episode synopsis is: arriving home to the start of the plague apocalypse from a failed hunting trip, Timothy and Eric must fight for survival and find safety in order to stay alive. What we're basically going to see is they've come back from a hunting trip. It didn't go so well, but they come home to see there is a virus going around, and they're going to have to learn how to survive it. What even is it about? Because this is the beginning. They don't know what it is. They're going to learn what it is. We're going to see how they ended up, meeting Clyde, being a part of his group. So we're going to learn a little bit about Timothy and Eric. Again, I'll talk about in a minute how the show is, but we're going to go on to episode 4. Episode 4 will be Clyde, which his episode is described as coming home from Liberty City to the start of the apocalypse. Clyde attempts to follow a radio broadcast to an apparent safe haven to escape the plague people in the city. It's going to show, again, I'm going to go ahead and say how this works. Each episode that happens at the end, like how episode 1 we learn about how Corey got with Andy's group, and we'll see Andy of course in that episode with him, but we'll learn how he got with them. So the next episode is about Andy and how he became who he was and joined the military group. Then episode 3, it don't basically base off the other episodes, but it starts a new string with Timothy and Eric, seeing them survive and find the Ultras camp. That's what leads into episode 4, where the broadcast is actually going to be coming from there that Clyde tries to find and get into the Ultras camp to join them. Of course, it's not the Ultras anymore. They done left San Andreas before the plague started. But So each episode kind of piggybacks, and that's why the Clyde episode is episode 4. And that's because Timothy and Eric was before him. They bring in the altruist camp. So Clyde, his episode is finding that camp, becoming the leader of it. And then here's where we start 2 more string events where episode 5 and 6 tie into each other. Like episode 1 and 2 tie into each other, episode 3 and 4 tie into each other, episode 5 and 6 tie into each other. So episode 5 is based off the character JP from season 2. JP and his brother DJ try to survive atop Mount Chiliad, but when a herd of plague people make their way up to the mountain and attack their camp, they attempt to find refuge at a community, but put their lives in danger when they attempt to leave the community without getting warning first. That community is actually, well, I'll talk about it here in a second, because I don't want to reveal it before I reveal the next episode. The next episode is titled Scott. It's about Scott. Everybody's going to love that to death and be tickled to death by Scott's episode. So how it works is JP and his brother join Scott's community in episode 5, and Scott is, episodes, that's how it ties in episode 6 and makes that episode about him. I know I wish there was more to give off about the anthology series, but I thought, well, why not give off story details to give, because it's not exactly spoiling what's happening with them, it's just giving teasing as to what's going to go on with those characters to let everybody know what character is going to be in the season. And of course, starting with season 2, PlagueCon won't reveal the story details, more of just a trailer. It'll reveal who's in it, but it might still reveal story details, because revealing the synopsis ain't spoiling the episodes. Other than episode 6 would spoil it, and that's why I needed to stop, because if I kept going, there's a bunch of stuff in that synopsis. So episodes, I just about completely off track. The synopsis don't really spoil it. It just shows, hey, this is what's going to happen. We're going to see how Clyde met Timothy and Eric, and how we're going to see, just like I don't want to reveal who, but in the second season, of course, we're going to meet other characters from the show who's not, the episodes ain't about them. The main point of the anthology series, and this is where I'm going to talk about it a little bit more detail. The anthology series is meant to, it's not to bring in new characters. It's meant to give more light on the characters that we've seen in the past of the show who died early and stuff like that, to learn more about them. We didn't know a lot about Corey. We didn't know a lot about Clyde, Timothy, Eric, JP, Scott. Of course, we got to know Scott, but we didn't know much about any of these characters. So we're going to get to know them. We're going to get to learn who they were, what they were doing. That's the interesting thing about this anthology series. It's only really about characters that are in the show. Not new characters, not ones from other spin-offs, other movies of what's going on. But I think that's what everybody's going to enjoy about it, is that, it's like, well, we don't want to meet new characters this. We want to learn about the old characters, what their backstories were for. Well, that's what this show's meant to do, is give backstories to other characters. So that's going to be an interesting part, and we're going to see cameos of major characters, people I'll go ahead and say Samantha in season 2 or 1.0. I don't think she's a cameo. We'll see a few different cameos of major characters that don't have episodes in the anthology series. We'll see cameos of them in some episodes. And in season 2, there's a few characters who are in a few episodes instead of just one that's about them. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a good series. I can't wait for everybody to see it. But that's the end of the panel for that one. That's all I have to give right now for that. So hopefully everybody had pen and paper or is willing to go back and rewatch this panel right here. I'll have the timestamps in the description, so you can just click on it. It'll be anthology series panel. That way you can go back and not have to be well, I got to find it. I got to scroll through all this time on here and figure out where it is. You'll be able to find it easy. So hopefully everybody enjoyed hearing about that. So with that said, we're going to move on to the surprise panel. And this is just a reveal. The trailer will come in a few weeks. But because I just now recently made the full decision to go ahead and do it. The Plague Original Season 5 is becoming a movie. It is going to follow the steps of the original season 4, and it's going to be part of what I've been calling the Dream series, which is a series of movies about people's dreams. The season 4 original turned into the Plague, Samantha's dream movie, and the Plague season 5 original is going to be turned into the Plague, Anthony's dream. And so we're going to see, of course, Scott was in it. So guess what? Everybody gets to see Scott for 7 episodes straight again. And, we'll see if more later. But we'll see him for not 7 episodes straight, I'm sorry. A whole movie that's worth 7 episodes of time. You'll get to see 3 hours of Scott, or 2 hours of Scott, whatever. I think it's 2 hours of Scott. Hour and a half, 2 hours of Scott again. See people like Scott, see people like Samantha, we see Anthony, we see, who else? We see Josh again. We see David again, which everybody's probably excited to see David again. Everybody loved David. But we'll see that again. And what it's about, it's seeing Anthony dream about David being the One World Order. David's trying to come in, steal his brother for a higher power we don't know about that takes him to wants to take him to the One World Order to have Anthony help them with stuff. But that's revealed that David is his brother, and that's all I'm really going to reveal about it right now. For the people who's not ever watched the original season 5, I'm not going to spoil much. The people who do know about the original season 5, please don't spoil anything for the ones who don't. Like, I know Cade, Dan, and Matt won't spoil it. I don't think anybody else would either, but just please don't spoil it for anybody. Not your family, not your friends. Just let them be surprised by it. So yeah, that's the reveal for that the Plague Season 5 original is turned into a movie, because I know, like I said before, I've said this in comments and Discord. Like, for instance, Dan reviewed original Season 5, original Season 4. They got on the shelf for rewrites. That made those reviews basically for nothing, which was kind of shitty of me, really, and I felt bad for that for a long time. But now the original Season 4 turned into a movie. Those reviews ended up not being for nothing. The original Season 5 is going to be a movie, so now those reviews ain't for nothing. So people who's reviewed it, like Dan, and people who's gave time watching it, like Matt and Cade, and of course Dan, and all the rest of the fans, the time wasn't for nothing, everybody. It's being brought back to a movie. So, and there's plenty more Dream movies to come from that. At least one more Dream movie after this. So yeah, we're getting a sequel. I do remember whenever I was thinking about it, because I remember, like Matt had said something about it. He's like, you should definitely make the original Season 5 a Dream movie. Have it be a sequel. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, well, I mean, because I had it on my mind after the Samantha movie. I was like, well, maybe I can do that the original Season 5. But then I kind of shelved it for a bit. I was like, well, I don't know yet. I don't know if I want to do that. And then Matt come on and said, like, it was literally just a few days after that. Or no, it was the day after that. I don't remember when. I just know it was right after I was sitting there thinking about that. He's like, hey, make this a Dream movie. And I was sitting there thinking, well, I mean, Matt agrees with it. Dan agrees with it. Everybody agrees with it. So let's reveal this at PlagueCon Season 5. And then at some point I was like, well, I don't know yet, because then it means that I'm going to have to do another movie for it, but it won't be on GTA. The other movie will have to be drawn, a continuation of the Dream movie, because of course the Season 5 original ended on a cliffhanger, meaning it'll have to have a second Dream movie with it. So that's why I kind of questioned whether I need to do it, because then I'd have to make another movie for it after that. But yeah, so that's definitely going to be something that's done. So yeah, everybody get your pants on, get ready, because the Season 5 is now becoming a movie, the original. So we get to see David again, we see Scott again, Josh, characters who have left the main show. So everybody get ready. So it's coming back. And with that said, that's all the segments of PlagueCon, the Plague final season, future news for the show. It's sad to see that this was the final season's panel, because it means we won't see it in Part 2. I want to explain that real fast. The reason we will not see in Part 2 the final season have a panel is because it will already be halfway through the second half when PlagueCon Part 2 comes out. So sadly, it won't be a panel for it. There will be a surprise. It won't be a panel-wise, but we're going to see a surprise from the final season to send fans off one final time. In the panel, but it won't have a panel for the final season. Like, there won't be news about it. It's just gonna be a little I don't know what to call it, just a little thing thrown in there, a little hoorah to the final season. So, with that said, that's everything from PlagueCon. Hope everybody had pen and paper so you don't have to go back and watch this again about what happened. Again, go back and watch the trailer after it releases, after the end of this live. Go back and watch the trailer of the final season and pause every scene and look at the Plague people, look at the characters. There is some stuff to break down, especially with the, I don't know, just break it down yourselves and make theories, and I definitely want to hear your theories. Join the Discord and give me your theories, give me your thoughts, anything, or just put it in the comments of either this PlagueCon or the trailer video of the final season. Just whatever you want to put it in, definitely let me know your thoughts. I can't wait to hear it, and I can't wait to see what you guys think of the final season when it comes out April 24th, which is actually the 6-year anniversary of the Plague. That's a little interesting fact as to why it's on the 24th. 6th-year anniversary. Can't wait for it. Everybody's going to be celebrating, get popcorn, get party hats, as it's the final birthday of the Plague that we'll be able to celebrate together. So with that said, I'm going to let Dan and Matt give their own little intro of what they want to say before we PlagueCon. So I've said what I need to say. Thank you, everybody. Dan, Matt?
Well, honestly, dude, I just look forward to everything that's to come. Also, appreciate you having us on PlagueCon for the final season. That is a huge deal to me. Honestly, I never thought that this day would come, and here we are talking about the end of the show, right? So it's quite a big deal, and honestly, the news is great. It's gonna be stuck in my head for the rest of the night, so it's gonna be pretty awesome. Can't wait to see what comes to the franchise, and thanks again.
Yeah, it was a blast coming on, hearing all this news for the final season, and it was a pleasure as always getting to hang out with y'all here on a PlagueCon, getting to discuss our theories and, kind of like hear about the new stuff coming up for the franchise and stuff. And, all I could say is, I'm looking forward to the future of this franchise, and, bring on the final season.
I'm glad I had you guys here, and I'm glad you guys had a good time. I'm especially honored to have had you guys here for the final season, as I've put it for your mega OG fans of the main show, and it was good to have you guys here for the final one for the show. Hopefully I get to have you guys back here at part 2, and I guarantee we'll have a fun time like every other time, except I forgot to make this announcement before we leave PlagueCon, everybody. I will not be here in part 2. I forgot to mention that. I'm sitting here talking about can't wait for part 2. I will not be here for part 2. As I've said, I've got my family I've got to give time to. Rebel Tea Time has agreed to moderate part 2. I could be back for 2024. More than likely I will be back for part 1 of 2024. There will be I'm going to hold a Plague convention at some point this year, probably later this year at the end of the year, where I will be in that, because it'll only be like an hour. But I'll be here for that, so nobody get sad that I ain't going to be here for PlagueCon. Everybody here, everybody out there. It gives more time to my family, because PlagueCon takes like 2 or 3 hours to get through. As to where I won't be here, but it will be Rebel Tea Time, which is the actor of Samantha, the actor of Derek. He's going to be one of the one to moderate those panels that are coming up, and it's going to be just as much as what I was doing. So I can't wait for everybody to find out what comes at part 2, and I was glad to be here, and I thank you everybody again for watching the Plague through and to see it through the final season. It was a good night here tonight. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the questions, hearing the theories, hearing the thoughts, and everybody let me know your thoughts in the little comment section on Discord, and we'll see you guys on the final season on the 24th in, I think, actually 30 days from now. So cannot wait. 24th is coming. The Plague final season is coming. Everybody get ready to shed some tears, get some popcorn, and make some final memories, because we're in for a final scary ride. With that said, it's Sunday Freak 78